Hi, I'm Chef Billy and this is Chef Chris. We're here in the Land O'Lakes Culinary Center and we're talking about cheese sauce. But first, Chris, how many kitchens have you worked in?
Oh geez, Billy, it's hard to count. I've been in the industry for over 20 years, and in the last 5 years of my career, I've specifically been working in college and university kitchens. I'm also a certified executive chef from the American Culinary Federation. And how about yourself?
Well, Chris, I haven't been at it as long as you have. It's only been about 17 years. I started in catering, worked my way through fine dining, and eventually went back to school and got my 4-year degree in food science, which led me to a food scientist position here at Land O'Lakes, where I eventually put the chef coat back on and joined the Culinary Center.
Well, I'm glad you joined the Culinary Center, Billy. Now we're here making some cheese sauce. Why don't you tell me about the first time you made cheese sauce?
Well, I was working in a restaurant kitchen and we were making homemade mac and cheese. So I started with the butter and the flour to make the roux, added the milk, added the cheese, eventually added the pasta and baked the whole dish. Turned out very nice.
That's great. I remember the first time I made cheese sauce. I browned the butter, I scalded the milk. I just couldn't make a roux to save my life. And then when I added the cheese, it just clumped right up and it was downright nasty. Making cheese sauce is one of those rites of passage in every kitchen. Can you make it consistently without burning or clumping, or all the usual headaches and the mess?
Amen. We've all been there. And it's really easy when you've got a large operation churning lots and lots of meals out for one little error to ruin the day. So that's why we want to talk with you about Land O'Lakes Performance Dairy Cheese Sauces.
Our goal today is to address the skepticism you might have around Land O'Lakes cheese sauces. After all, how can something from a bag perform just as well as a sauce made by hand?
Spoiler alert, it actually might perform better.
It's time to shatter some stereotypes. Oftentimes, when people consider processed cheese sauce, they think of the stuff you put on nachos that comes out of a pump.
And it's pretty clear Land O'Lakes Performance Dairy Cheese Sauces are not that. These are quality cheese products you can be proud to serve in your operation. Let's take a look at how our extra melt American cheese loaves and sauces are made.
First and foremost, our extra melt processed cheese products start with cheddar cheese. Here, you can see some of our food scientists cutting and shredding some cheddar for a batch of extra melt American in our pilot plant at Land O'Lakes headquarters.
And here we can see the same process on a much larger scale in one of our manufacturing plants. Look at all that cheese. Our extra melt performance dairy line is full of cheddar cheesy goodness. In fact, there's a lot more cheddar cheese in our sauces than most folks realize. Right, Chris?
Indeed, Billy. Our extra melt cheese loaves are American cheese, so they have a minimum of 75% cheddar cheese by weight. For each loaf, that's about this much cheese. And our extra melt cheese sauces hold about 50% cheddar cheese.
This cheese is in that bag?
Yeah, that's a lot. And when you compare that to your typical canned cheese sauce, it's only about 3%.
That's not very much cheese. But let's compare that to a true handmade cheese sauce like the one from earlier. You and I have both made cheese sauces like this by hand quite a bit. How does that compare to our Land O'Lakes extra melt cheese sauce?
So let's assume we're making 5 pounds of a classic cheese sauce with a bechamel base. In this case, the handmade cheese sauce contains about 12% cheese by weight.
That's less cheese than I would have thought was in there.
Oh, absolutely. And remember, our extra melt cheese sauces can hold about 50% cheddar cheese by weight. And more importantly, if you try to add more cheese to a sauce like this, it's likely to break apart or it's going to get oily and grainy. Unlike our extra melt sauces, which can hold that extra cheese without breaking.
So how does Land O'Lakes get more cheese into its sauce than you and I could making it by hand?
Well, my friend, remember visiting our cheese facility? Unlike a chef, our cheese experts have technology to mix and prepare sauces in large volumes with much greater control and consistency than you or I could alone. And there's the added benefit, no mess to clean up.
I'll take that any day. So one other benefit of Land O'Lakes cheese sauce that I think many chefs might miss is our dairy member owners. I'm proud to introduce Barb Liebenstein, a first-generation dairy farmer from Minnesota and 49-year member owner of Land O'Lakes. Welcome, boss.
Hi guys, thanks for having me here today.
Now that's right, Land O'Lakes is owned by its farmer members. And we're here in the year 2021, which actually marks 100 years of the Land O'Lakes cooperative system. When you select Land O'Lakes cheese sauces, you're supporting farmers like Barb and their communities. So Barb, tell us about your farm.
Wolf Creek Dairy is located 40 miles from downtown Minneapolis. My husband Paula and I have been farming together for 40 years.
Barb, I've got a question. How many cows do you have and how much milk do they produce on an average day?
So we have 400 Holstein dairy cows and they're producing about 4,000 gallons of milk per day.
So Barb, help me understand, how does your milk get back to us here at Land O'Lakes?
Well, it starts really early in the morning. At 2:30, Paul and I get up and milk cows and feed them. And once the milk is in the bulk tank, our milkman Phil shows up and picks up the milk and hauls it to our processor. On our farm, we take great pride in producing that high quality milk, knowing that someone is going to enjoy that with their families. Cow comfort is super important on a dairy farm. The more comfortable the cow, the more milk that she can produce. Did you know that a dairy cow needs to lay down for about 16 hours a day in order to make milk?
16 hours? That's crazy.
Wouldn't you like that job? So we really appreciate when chefs insist on Land O'Lakes cheese sauces for their menus. Aside from getting a high-performing, reliable cheese sauce, you're supporting American dairy farm families like mine.
Thank you, Barb.
Thanks, Barb. Well, you certainly learn a lot when you're working in a kitchen. You learn about craft, you learn about tradition, you learn about innovation. The fact is, Land O'Lakes cheese sauces give chefs an edge. They save time, they create consistency. They can take on a wide range of performance challenges: high heat, troublesome ingredients like acid and fat, and long holding times, and still look and taste as good as homemade.
These sauces enable your kitchen to perform at its best, delivering recipes and food your customers rave about. Making an amazing cheese sauce doesn't have to be a time-consuming task, and it doesn't have to lead to temperamental outcomes that waste time and money. That's the innovation behind Land O'Lakes cheese sauce.
And let's not forget, Land O'Lakes sauces are made from natural cheese. In fact, more cheese than you could incorporate on your own.
You should give extra milk cheese sauce a whirl in your kitchen. Try it with your most experienced chef, and then try it with the new cook working their first shift. As chefs, we think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the results you'll achieve.
We've got all kinds of recipes, technique tutorials, and related advice at landolakesfoodservice.com. Thanks for hanging out with us.